Have you ever made a life-changing breakthrough in therapy that you deeply regret? My therapist, Dr. Angela, said we'd finally cracked it after 8 months of sessions. I'd spent most of my life with this gap in my memories. Ages 7 to 9 were just blank, like someone had erased a hard drive. My parents always said I was just forgetful, that nothing important happened during those years. But the nightmares suggested otherwise. The panic attacks suggested otherwise. So I started therapy, and last Tuesday, during EMDR treatment, everything came flooding back, clear as day, vivid, real. I left her office feeling lighter than I had in years, like I'd finally found a missing piece of myself. I called my mom from the parking lot to tell her about the breakthrough, that I'd finally remembered what happened when I was 8. There was this long silence on the phone. Then she said, "That's wonderful, honey," in a voice that sounded anything but wonderful. She said she had to go and hung up before I could tell her any details. I thought it was weird, but didn't think much of it until I got home and my husband Marcus asked how therapy went. I started explaining about the recovered memory, and he got this strange look on his face. He said he was happy for me, but he suddenly remembered he had to run to the hardware store at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. That's when I started noticing things. My sister Jenna, who texts me 50 times a day, suddenly went radio silent. My dad didn't return my calls for 3 days straight. When I stopped by my parents' house that weekend, my mom was jumpy and kept checking her phone. She made an excuse about having a headache and asked me to leave after only 20 minutes. I asked if something was wrong, and she insisted everything was fine, but she wouldn't look at me when she said it. The family group chat that was usually buzzing with activity went completely dead after I mentioned in passing that therapy was going really well. My brother Tyler, who I'm close with, sent me a private message saying we should take a break from talking for a while. No explanation, just that he needed space. I drove to his apartment and he wouldn't let me inside. Stood in the doorway like he was blocking me from entering. His eyes kept darting behind me like he thought someone might be watching. Marcus started acting different too. He'd get quiet when I talked about my memories, changing the subject or suddenly remembering work he had to do. I caught him on the phone late one night, speaking in hushed tones, and when I asked who it was, he said it was about a work project. But I heard him say my name, and I heard him say we have to do something. Then I noticed photos were missing. The family picture from my 8th birthday that used to hang in the hallway at my parents' house was gone. When I asked my mom about it, she said she was redecorating and must have packed it away. But there was a nail hole where it had been, fresh paint around the edges like she'd just removed it. I started checking other places and found more missing photos from that same time period. My elementary school picture from 2nd grade that used to be on mom's desk, gone. The photo album from our beach trip when I was 8, the whole album had vanished from the bookshelf. My Aunt Carol, who I'd always been close with, stopped responding to my messages entirely. When I showed up at her work, she looked terrified to see me. She said she couldn't talk to me right now and practically ran back inside. I asked my cousin Hannah if something was going on with the family. She said she didn't know what I was talking about, but her voice was shaking when she said it. Last night, I was going through old boxes in our garage looking for anything from that time period. I found a newspaper clipping from July 1998 that I don't remember seeing before. A story about a little girl who went missing from our neighborhood that summer. She was never found. Her name was Sophie, and I remembered playing with a girl named Sophie right before my memory goes blank. I called Dr. Angela and told her I needed an emergency session, that I thought my recovered memory might be connected to something bigger, something my whole family has been hiding. She said to come in first thing tomorrow morning and that we'd work through it together. But when I got home from that call, Marcus was packing a bag. He said he was going to stay with his brother for a few days. I asked him why, and his face just crumbled. He looked at me with something that might have been pity or might have been fear. "Your family called me. They told me what you remembered. They told me what really happened to that little girl." And that's when I realized the person from my recovered memory wasn't a stranger. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below. Your family called me. They told me what you remembered. They told me what really happened to that little girl. My heart stops. The world tilts sideways as I grab the kitchen counter to steady myself. What are you talking about? What did they tell you? My voice sounds strange, like it's coming from somewhere outside my body. Marcus zips his overnight bag closed and won't meet my eyes. His shoulders are rigid, hands trembling slightly as he checks his phone. I need some time. It's a lot to process. I move between him and the door. No, you don't get to drop something like that and just leave. What did my family say about Sophie? His eyes finally meet mine, and what I see there makes my stomach lurch. Fear, pity, something else I can't name. They said, he starts then stops, running his hand through his hair. They said you were there when she disappeared, that you were the last person to see her alive. The room seems to shrink around me. That's not possible. I barely remember her. We were just neighborhood kids who played together sometimes. Marcus sets his bag down, his expression pained. They told me that's what you've been told your whole life. That's what they wanted you to believe. What are you saying? He takes a deep breath. Your parents claim you killed her when you were 8. The words hit me like a physical blow. I stumble backward, shaking my head. No, that's insane. I would never. I couldn't have. They said it was an accident, that you were playing in the woods and something happened. You pushed her or she fell. They weren't clear on the details. My mind races, searching desperately through the newly recovered memories. Sophie's face appears, freckled and smiling, her red hair in messy braids. We're in the woods behind my house, climbing trees, building a fort with fallen branches. I remember playing with her, I whisper, but nothing like what they're saying. Your family says they covered it up, all of them. Your parents, your Aunt Carol, even Tyler. They hid what happened to protect you. My legs give out and I sink to the floor. That's why they're acting so strange. Why they don't want to see me. They think I'm a murderer. Marcus kneels beside me, keeping a careful distance. They said the memory therapy was their worst nightmare, that they've spent 23 years trying to make sure you never remembered. A flash of memory hits me, Sophie, climbing higher in a tall oak tree, me following behind, her laughter echoing through the woods, the branch under her cracking. I press my palms against my temples. No, this can't be right. If I killed someone even accidentally, there would have been an investigation. Police. Something. Your dad was the police chief's brother-in-law back then. Your mom said they convinced the police to focus on a homeless man who'd been seen in the area. The room spins. I think I might be sick. So my whole family, they've been lying to me my entire life, creating this elaborate fiction about who I am? Marcus nods slowly. They said they did it to protect you, that you were so traumatized after it happened that you blocked it out completely. They decided it was better to let you forget. Another memory surfaces sitting in my childhood bedroom, overhearing my parents arguing in hushed voices. My mother saying, she doesn't remember anything. The doctor says it might be permanent. My father's response, then we never speak of it again. As far as she knows, it never happened. I look up at Marcus, tears streaming down my face. Why did they tell you this? Why now? Your mom called me after you mentioned the newspaper article. They're terrified you'll remember everything and go to the police. Or worse, that you'll confront Sophie's family. I think about Dr. Angela, our appointment tomorrow, my therapist. Does she know? Marcus shakes his head. I don't think so, but your parents are trying to reach her. They want to make sure she doesn't help you recover any more memories. I push myself up from the floor, a strange calm settling over me. I need to know the truth, all of it. I think that's why I need to go, Marcus says quietly. Your brother said you might be dangerous if you remember everything at once, that you might hurt yourself or someone else. The betrayal cuts deep. My own husband, believing I could be violent. I would never hurt anyone. That's what I told them, he says, but his eyes dart away. He doesn't believe it. I just need a few days to process this, to figure out what to do. As he picks up his bag again, I make no move to stop him. Did they tell you where her body is? Marcus pauses at the door. They said it's still in the woods, that they covered it with rocks and branches and leaves, that no one ever found her. After he leaves, I sit alone in the silence of our kitchen, the memories continuing to surface like bubbles in dark water. Sophie and I picking wildflowers, Sophie showing me a bird's nest, Sophie climbing that tree, higher and higher, and then nothing, just the blank space where the truth should be. I pull out my phone and look at the newspaper clipping again. Sophie Miller, age 8, last seen the 17th of July, 1998. The same summer my memories disappear. I open my contacts and scroll to Dr. Angela's number. Tomorrow morning feels too far away. I need answers now. But before I can call her, a text comes through from my sister Jenna, the first contact from her in days. Don't trust what they're telling you. It wasn't your fault. Meet me tomorrow at the old tree house. Come alone. I wake up to my alarm at 6 a.m. after barely sleeping. My fingers automatically reach for my phone to call Dr. Angela for an emergency session. The events of last night replay in my mind as I dial Marcus leaving, the accusations, Sophie's face in my recovered memories. I need professional help to make sense of this nightmare. The call goes straight to voicemail. Hi, you've reached Dr. Angela Winters. I'm unavailable at the moment. If this is an emergency, please contact the crisis hotline at. I hang up and immediately redial. Same result. I send a text. Emergency. Need to speak with you as soon as possible about memories from yesterday's session. I try again 10 minutes later, then again at 7:30. Nothing. By 8 a.m., when her office officially opens, I'm pacing the kitchen, anxiety clawing at my chest. This time, her receptionist answers. Dr. Winters' office. I need to speak with Dr. Angela immediately. It's an emergency. A pause. I'm sorry, but Dr. Winters has taken an unexpected leave of absence. She's canceled all appointments for the next 2 weeks. What? Since when? Since last night. I can refer you to another therapist if. Did my parents call her? The words burst out before I can stop them. Another pause, longer this time. I'm not at liberty to discuss who contacts Dr. Winters. Would you like a referral? I hang up without answering. The timing is too convenient to be coincidental. Marcus said they were trying to reach her, to stop her from helping me recover more memories. Apparently, they succeeded. With professional help off the table, I need to find answers myself. I grab my laptop and search for Sophie Miller missing 1998. The first result is a digitized newspaper article from the Westfield Chronicle, dated the 20th of July, 1998. Search continues for missing Westfield girl. Local authorities continue the search for 8-year-old Sophie Miller, who disappeared from her Oakwood Lane home on Friday, July 17. Sophie was last seen playing in her front yard around 4 p.m. Police Chief Raymond Donovan has requested that residents check outbuildings and wooded areas on their properties. We're exploring all possibilities, Donovan said. We ask the community to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity. Sophie is described as 4'2", with red hair and freckles. She was wearing a yellow t-shirt and blue shorts when she disappeared. The Miller family is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to Sophie's safe return. I scroll through more articles. July 22, search expanded for missing girl. July 25, police question transient in Miller disappearance. August 3, hope fading as search for Miller child enters third week. The articles mention a homeless man named Everett Willis who was seen in the area. Police brought him in for questioning multiple times but never charged him. There's no mention of me or my family in any of the coverage. I find a follow-up piece from September 1998. Case goes cold in Miller disappearance. The article includes a quote from my father's brother-in-law, Police Chief Donovan. We've exhausted all leads at this time, but the case remains open. We won't rest until we bring closure to the Miller family. Closure they never got because my family diverted the investigation toward an innocent homeless man. My stomach churns with disgust. I need more information. I need proof of what really happened. I think about Jenna's text, meet me at the old treehouse. The treehouse. Another memory surfaces. Sophie and me climbing the wooden ladder, giggling as we pulled it up behind us so my brother Tyler couldn't follow. But before meeting Jenna, I need to search our house. If my family hid the truth from me for 23 years, they might have hidden physical evidence too. I start in the attic, digging through boxes of childhood memorabilia, school projects, report cards, birthday cards, all carefully preserved, creating the illusion of a normal childhood. I find nothing about Sophie, nothing about the summer of 1998. Then I remember something, a loose section of drywall in my old bedroom closet. As a child, I used it as a secret hiding place for treasures, pretty rocks, candy, notes passed in class. Could I have hidden something else there? In our our spare bedroom, which still has my old furniture, I push aside hanging clothes and press against the back wall of the closet. The drywall gives slightly under pressure. I push harder, and a small section pops inward, revealing a dark cavity. I shine my phone flashlight inside and see something wrapped in faded fabric. My hands tremble as I pull it out, a small diary with a broken lock, covered in pink flowers, the pages yellowed with age. My diary, the one I thought I'd lost. I open it with shaking hands. The first entry is dated the 15th of January, 1998. Dear diary, Mom got me this for my birthday. I'm 8 now. Tyler says keeping a diary is for babies, but I don't care. I flip through pages of childish handwriting, chronicling ordinary days, school projects, arguments with Tyler, a new puppy down the street. Then I find entries about Sophie. The 12th of May, 1998. Sophie came over today. We played in the treehouse and made friendship bracelets. She's my best friend, even though she's in Mrs. Peterson's class instead of Miss Garber's with me. Le 3 juin, 1998. Sophie and I have a secret club now, just us two. We meet in the treehouse after school. No boys allowed, especially not Tyler. The 2nd of July, 1998. Sophie showed me how to climb the big oak tree by the creek. Mom would be so mad if she knew how high we went. Sophie isn't scared of anything. The entries continue until July 16, the day before Sophie disappeared. The 16th of July, 1998. Sophie is coming over tomorrow after lunch. We're going to the treehouse to work on our fort in the woods. She found the perfect spot where no one can find us. Then nothing. The next 20 pages are torn out. The diary resumes in October, with different handwriting still mine, but more careful, more controlled. The 24th of October, 1998. Dr. Linden says writing will help me remember things. I don't remember Sophie anymore. Mom says that's okay. I don't have to remember if it makes me sad. I close the diary, my mind racing. The torn pages must have contained what really happened on July 17. Did I tear them out? Or did someone else, my parents, perhaps remove them to hide the truth? I check my phone. It's almost noon. Jenna will be waiting at the treehouse, and she promised answers. I slip the diary into my bag and grab my car keys. As I head for the door, my phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Your parents just called me again. They're worried about what you might remember. Please be careful. I don't respond. I'm done with their warnings and lies. It's time to find out what really happened to Sophie Miller, even if the truth destroys everything I thought I knew about myself. I drive to my parents' house with the diary clutched in my bag, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. The familiar route feels different now. Every tree, every street sign seems to be hiding something. I've driven this road hundreds of times, but today it feels like I'm seeing it through someone else's eyes, someone who knows what really happened in those woods. When I pull into the driveway, I'm surprised to see 3 cars parked there. My father's SUV, my mother's sedan, and Tyler's pickup truck. I wasn't expecting a family reunion. My text to Jenna about meeting at the treehouse remains unanswered. The front door opens before I can knock. My mother stands there, her face pale and drawn. She looks like she's aged 10 years since I last saw her a week ago. You found the diary, she says quietly, looking at my bag. I don't ask how she knows. Where's Jenna? She told me to meet her at the treehouse. We asked her to text you that. We needed to get you here. Mom steps aside. Everyone's waiting in the living room. The living room feels smaller than I remember, crowded with the weight of secrets. Dad sits in his recliner, looking old and defeated. Tyler stands by the window, arms crossed tightly over his chest. Jenna perches on the edge of the couch, her eyes red-rimmed from crying. Where's Marcus? I ask, remaining standing in the doorway. We called him, Dad says, his voice rough. He said he needed more time. Time for what? To process the lie that I'm a murderer? My voice rises. Is that what you all think of me? That I killed Sophie? A heavy silence fills the room. Tyler looks at the floor. Jenna covers her face with her hands. We never said you killed her, my father finally says. We said you were there when she died. I pull the diary from my bag and hold it up. I found this, hidden in my old bedroom wall. Someone tore out the pages from July 17th. My mother's eyes fill with tears. I did that after you started seeing Dr. Linden, the child psychiatrist. The memory surfaces sitting in a bright office with toys in the corner, a kind woman with glasses asking me to draw pictures of my feelings. Yes, Mom says. You were having nightmares, flashbacks. You couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. The doctor said you were experiencing severe trauma. From what? I demand. What happened to Sophie? My father stands up slowly, his hands trembling slightly. We should have told you the truth years ago. Instead, we created this collective gaslighting. We thought we were protecting you. Protecting me from what? From the truth, Tyler interjects, finally looking at me. From what you saw that day. Dad takes a deep breath. Sophie's body was found 3 weeks after she disappeared, in the woods behind our house, near that big oak tree by the creek. The tree from my memories, the one Sophie taught me to climb. A hiker found her, Mom continues. By then, the investigation had focused on that homeless man, but we knew. Knew what? I whisper, though part of me doesn't want to hear the answer. That you were with her when she died, Dad says. You came home that day covered in dirt, hysterical, unable to form sentences. You kept saying Sophie fell over and over. The memory hits me like a physical blow. Sophie climbing higher, showing off, the branch cracking beneath her feet, her scream as she fell, the sickening thud when she hit the ground. It was an accident, I whisper. She fell from the tree. Jenna nods, tears streaming down her face. You ran home to get help, but by the time Dad got there, she was already gone, Dad finishes. Broken neck. Must have been instant. I sink onto the couch, my legs no longer able to support me. But why lie? Why make me forget? You didn't just see her fall, Tyler says quietly. You saw what happened after. My mother moves to sit beside me, her hand hovering near mine but not touching. When your father got there, someone else was already with Sophie's body. Who? Mr. Miller, Dad says. Sophie's father. He was doing things to her body. Inappropriate things. The room spins around me. What? We found out later he'd been abusing her for years, Mom says, her voice breaking. That day, when she didn't come home, he went looking for her. Found her before we did. You saw him, Tyler says. You were hiding in the bushes, too scared to come out. You saw everything. Another memory surfaces, a large man kneeling beside Sophie's broken body, touching her in ways that confused and terrified me, even at 8 years old. When I got there, Dad continues. You were screaming. Miller ran. I covered Sophie with my jacket and took you home. You were in shock. Couldn't stop shaking. By the time the police arrived, Miller had an alibi, Mom says. His wife swore he was home all afternoon. No one believed what you said you saw. So you made me forget, I say, understanding finally dawning. You created a new memory to replace the real one. Dad nods. Dr. Linden suggested it. Said your mind was already trying to protect itself by blocking out the trauma. She thought it would be better to replace the memory entirely. So you all pretended Sophie never existed? That I never knew her? We thought it was the only way, Jenna says softly. You were so broken, so traumatized. And then when they found her body and Miller killed himself, he what? Hanged himself in their garage the day after they found her, Tyler explains. Everyone thought it was grief. Only our family knew the truth. I stand up, needing space, needing air. So instead of telling me the truth when I was old enough to handle it, you let me think I was crazy when the memories started coming back. You let Marcus believe I might be dangerous. We panicked, Mom admits. When you mentioned the EMDR therapy, we were afraid of what you might remember. We never expected you to recover those memories after all this time. 23 years, I say, my voice hollow. 23 years of lies, of making me doubt myself, of letting Sophie's mother believe her husband died from grief instead of guilt. We thought we were protecting you, Dad repeats weakly. No, I backed toward the door. You were protecting yourselves. You were afraid of what would happen if the truth came out that you let a child abuser go free, that you manipulated your daughter's mind, that you lied to the police. No one contradicts me. The silence confirms everything. I'm going to Sophie's grave, I say, and then I'm going to tell her mother what really happened to her daughter. You can't, Dad says, rising quickly. The Millers moved away years ago, and opening all this up now won't bring Sophie back. No, but it might bring her justice. I turn to leave, then pause, and it might finally let me live without these holes in my mind that you all created. As I walk out, Jenna calls after me. What are you going to do? I don't turn around. I'm going to remember all of it, and then I'm going to decide who I am without your lies shaping me. The door closes behind me, and for the first time in 23 years, I feel like I'm stepping toward the truth instead of away from it. I stand at Sophie's grave in the morning light, the cold marble headstone, a stark reminder of a life cut short. The cemetery is quiet, except for birds calling to each other in the trees that line the perimeter. Sophie's grave is simple. Sophie Ann Miller, 1990 to 1998, forever in our hearts. There are fresh flowers, yellow daisies placed carefully against the stone. I've brought wildflowers, the kind that grew in the woods where we played, the kind Sophie and I used to pick and weave into crowns for each other's hair. I'm sorry, I whisper, placing them beside the daisies. I'm sorry I couldn't help you. I'm sorry I forgot you. She loved wildflowers. The voice startles me. I turn to see a woman standing a few feet away, her red hair streaked with gray, her face lined with years of grief. I recognize her immediately, though I haven't seen her in over 2 decades. Mrs. Miller, I say, my voice catching. She steps closer, studying my face. I knew you'd come eventually. When the memories started coming back, my heart pounds in my chest. You knew? She nods, her eyes never leaving mine. Your father told me, right after it happened. He came to me in the middle of the night, after they found my husband's body, told me everything. I struggle to process this new information, but my parents said that no one knew the truth, Mrs. Miller's laugh is hollow. They needed someone to know, someone who deserved to know. She gestures to the bench nearby. Shall we sit? This is a long overdue conversation. We sit side by side, both facing Sophie's grave. The distance between us feels both vast and insignificant. I've been coming here every week for 23 years, she says. Sometimes I see your mother watching from her car. She never approaches. I didn't know, I whisper. They made me forget everything. Mrs. Miller nods. Your father explained what they were doing with a psychiatrist. I didn't agree with it, but I understood. You were just a child. You'd seen something no child should ever see. Your husband, I start unsure how to continue, was a monster, she finishes for me. I didn't know, not until your father told me what you saw. I should have known, should have seen the signs, but I didn't want to see them. Her voice breaks. That's my burden to carry. I've reported everything to the police, I tell her. This morning before coming here, Detective Rivera is reopening the investigation. Mrs. Miller doesn't seem surprised. It's about time. Your parents may have thought they were protecting you, but they obstructed justice. They let my daughter's memory be tainted by lies. My family might face charges, I say. The reality of it still sinking in. Obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence, interfering with a police investigation. And what about Dr. Angela? Mrs. Miller asks. I shake my head, still angry about the betrayal. She admitted everything when the detective questioned her. She said my parents convinced her it was therapeutic intervention, not criminal conspiracy. She's surrendered her license. The wind picks up, rustling the trees around us. For a moment, I can almost hear children laughing in the distance. Sophie and me, running through the woods without a care in the world. I've started a foundation, I tell Mrs. Miller, the Sophie Miller Foundation for Missing Children, to help families with resources during searches and to support children who've witnessed trauma. Mrs. Miller reaches over and takes my hand. Her touch is warm, comforting. Sophie would have liked that. She always wanted to help people. I remember, I say, and the words feel like a gift I can finally give her. I remember how kind she was, how brave, how she always shared her lunch with kids who forgot theirs. Tears fill Mrs. Miller's eyes. Tell me more. Tell me what you remember about my daughter. So I do. I tell her about building forts in the woods, about our secret handshake, about the time Sophie stood up to a boy who was bullying me on the playground. With each memory I share, the weight I've carried lifts a little more. When I finally fall silent, Mrs. Miller wipes her eyes. Thank you. It's been so long since I've heard new stories about her. My phone buzzes in my pocket, a text from Marcus. Are you okay? Can we talk? Your husband? Mrs. Miller asks. I nod. He left when he thought I might be dangerous. My family convinced him I was capable of violence. And now he knows the truth. Everyone does. I put the phone away without responding. I'm not sure what happens next. You rebuild, Mrs. Miller says simply. That's what happens after everything falls apart. You pick up the pieces and you build something new. As we sit in companionable silence Silence. Detective Rivera calls. The police have found the torn pages from my diary, preserved in a safety deposit box under my father's name. They've also recovered fibers from Sophie's clothing in the area where her body was found, confirming my account of what happened. Your testimony will be essential, Rivera tells me. But with the physical evidence and Dr. Angela's confession, we have a solid case. After I hang up, Mrs. Miller and I walk slowly back toward the parking lot. Will you be okay? I ask her. She smiles, a genuine smile that reaches her eyes. I've been living with this for 23 years. Having the truth finally come to light, it's like breathing fresh air after being underwater for decades. Before we part ways, she hugs me tightly. You were her best friend, she whispers. Remember that, not the tragedy, but the friendship. As I drive home, I think about memory, how fragile it is, how malleable, and yet how persistent. My family tried to erase Sophie from my mind, but she found her way back. The truth always does. Marcus is waiting on our porch when I pull into the driveway. He stands as I approach, his face a mixture of shame and hope. I should have believed in you, he says. I should have known you could never hurt anyone. You believed what my family told you, I reply, keeping some distance between us. What they believed themselves. Can we start over? He asks. Can we try to rebuild? I think of Mrs. Miller's words at the cemetery. You pick up the pieces and you build something new. Not today, I tell him. I need time. I need to figure out who I am now that I remember everything. He nods, accepting this. I'll be here when you're ready. Inside the house, I open my laptop and begin writing the mission statement for the Sophie Miller Foundation. The words come easily, flowing from a place of clarity I haven't felt in years. For the first time since my memories began returning, I'm not afraid of what I might discover next. Sophie's story, our story, deserves to be told. The truth, no matter how painful, is better than the most comforting lie. I know that now. And I know that the little girl who climbed trees and made friendship bracelets and showed such fearless joy would want her life to mean something, to help others even after she was gone. In my mind, I can see her clearly now, red hair flying in the wind as she races me to the treehouse, turning to laugh over her shoulder. Forever 8 years old, forever free.